courage,
initiative,
skills. And so most of our veterans are actually natural entrepreneurs, except when they come back from the war, they're trying to fit into the corporate world, and a lot of them just don't fit. So eight lessons for military leadership is about how every military person, from the lowest private to the general, are already good entrepreneurs because they have great training.
Flesh that out a bit, then I want to take some calls because it is fascinating. I found vets do real good in my operation because I just say, here's the mission, have integrity, report news, have an open bias of telling the truth, and from a perspective of freedom, get out there. We want people to really dominate and break big stories. And I found people like Joe Biggs, they just get out there. They get it. They have a mission. I turn them loose.
Yeah. Like when I was, I was a Marine pilot, I flew the helicopter gunship. And if my major came down to me and says, hey, Lieutenant, take out that machine gun nest, he didn't say, well, I don't feel like it. I mean, he just, you did it or died. I mean, that is how Marines and most military people are trained.
What type of gunship? Was it a Cobra or what was it?
Both. I flew the Huey gunship and the Cobra gunship.
Wow, I'd like to have you on about that. That's interesting.
I really loved it. But anyway, that's why military personnel are trained to be entrepreneurs. They're going to get the job done. And that's why the Marines had so many problems in Fallujah. Not to berate my brother in the Army, but the Marines took Fallujah, and then the Army went back in. They lost it, and Marines went back in. But a lot of my friends were brought up on court-martialed because they did the job. They killed people. And I hate to say that, but that's what Marines are trained to do.
Yeah, what about political correctness in the military? I mean, I'm against those wars, but once they're there, they're going to court-martial people because they're getting shot at from a house, they shoot the house up, and then they shoot a civilian. I mean, you can't blame the individual, in my view. I'm sorry.
It's disgusting. My friend is a 3-star general, and he has to be politically correct. He was my roommate in Vietnam, and he says, I cannot say what I want to say because it looks bad upon the Marine Corps. And when your generals are not allowed to speak, we have a serious political correctness problem, and it's sad. Look, ISIS is actually doing us a big favor right now. They're really upsetting the whole world. If they actually put on video of them beheading a little kid, the world would come and blow them out of the water. But right now, they're only beheading men. But when they start beheading women and kids, I think then the Marine Corps will step up.
Well, they're doing it. They're just smart enough not to put it on video. And I tell you, what a despicable group of dirtbags. I mean, those people are just unbelievable. You look at the eyes of those people. They just look like a bunch of Charles Mansons. I don't know how you can find such large groups of people that have a Charlie Manson look in their eye all the time. I mean, all the people I know that look like that are on PCP. Robert, what do you think's going on with these people?
Alex, I have no idea. Look, I had a good friend who is Muslim. And I never met a man who hated so much. He's a good friend, but he hated Jews. And I kept asking him, I said, Saleh, how in the world can you hate somebody that much? Because I hate, but I don't hate that much. And that's the question, is how could you go and do basically atrocities to your fellow human being and think you're doing it in the name of God? It is beyond my comprehension. So that's why I think we need to be stronger, but we also take different approaches that neutralizes ISIS threat.
Well, of course, and the West helped set up ISIS to take out Syria. Now it's come back. It is a mess. You ready to take some phone calls, Robert?
Sure.
Let's do it. Mike in Virginia, you're on the air with our guest, the author of the new book, Second Chance. Go ahead.
Yeah. First of all, I can't believe I got on. But anyway, yeah, I have a question. I have some silver. I have some gold. I got a lot of silver, let's put it that way, and some gold. My house has been paid for years ago, 20 years ago. What else can I do to help protect? You know what I mean?
That's a great question. Congratulations for having silver. I like silver personally. I love gold. I have a lot of gold and silver. And the difference is between your philosophy and my philosophy is I like debt. You see, the reason I teach people how to use debt is because debt is the new money. See, what happened after 1971 when Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard? The dollar became debt. And so when the financial pundits are telling the poor middle class to get out of debt, what the rich are doing is using debt. Ask your banker this question. Does a banker want your savings, or does he want you to borrow millions of dollars from him?
And this is simple, but it's also complex. There's different philosophies. I would either go with the pay for your house, but get one at a good bargain, stay in it forever, and then run entrepreneurial businesses and do things like that and come up with new products. Or you can go with the whole debt model in businesses, but you got to be smart, pretty darn smart, to go with your model. I think that's the only problem with your model, Robert, is that if you know what you're doing, it's the best model. It's what the insiders use, but the general public is going to get basically screwed over because they're not going to actually follow what you say. Try to explain it to people.
Well, amen. You said, if you don't have any financial education, don't do what I do. And the reason I wrote Second Chance, I got this in 3 parts: the past, the present, and the future. And again, there's pictures throughout the same whole thing so that your kids can understand it. But what you do is up to you. I learned my financial education began with my rich dad, who was my best friend's father, at age 9, teaching me to play Monopoly. And for about 30 years, we played Monopoly, adults. And today, as an adult, I play Monopoly as an adult. For the formula is 4 greenhouses, 1 red hotel. So in 2007, when the markets crashed, unfortunately, millions were losing everything. Guys like me were going to the very banks that set up the crash and saying, would you give me a couple of $1 million to go do this? You see, what I'm saying in Second Chance is that all coins have 3 sides: heads, tails, and in the middle, which is intelligence. To stand on the edge is intelligent. And what you're saying, I agree exactly with you, is be intelligent. Hear what I'm saying, hear what you're saying, but ultimately, it's up to you, the guy on the edge, that has to make up their own mind. I made up my mind a long time ago.
That's right. I mean, the real fortune is in the arena. Fortune favors the bold, to quote British SAS. But if you're going to get in the arena, you better be ready.
That's right. I didn't go to Vietnam after 1 day. I spent 2 years practicing out at Camp Pendleton, shooting rockets and machine guns at dummies. And then I went, a few months later, I was in the real place. So you got to practice. That's one of my big complaints about school. One of the silliest things schools do. They punish you for making mistakes. Well, how in the world do you learn anything if you make mistakes? How does a baby learn to walk?
Absolutely. You got to war game everything. Robert Kiyosaki is our guest. Stay with us. More calls straight ahead.
This hour brought to you by InfidelBodyArmor.com. When it hits the fan, don't be left without the body armor that will save your life. With prices starting at just $374.99 and ships free. Get yours at InfidelBodyArmor.com. Just won't quit.
Hi, Ted Anderson with Midas Resources. Is it time to convert paper 401ks and IRAs to solid gold and silver yet? Get our 10 Reasons book free. Call 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
Managing your business and customers isn't easy, huh? SnapForce customer relationship software may be just what you need. SnapForce CRM is a software solution that helps you manage everything important about your customers, from sales to marketing to service and support. All of your customer information is right there at your fingertips for easy access. It's time to take control of your business in a snap. Get your free trial at snapforce.com. That's SNAPFORCE.com. Snapforce.com.
Healthy elimination is essential to high energy, a cheerful mood, and prevention of disease. Some of the founders of our modern holistic health thinking state that disease begins in a toxic colon. A toxic intestinal tract is the foundation for virtually all degenerative disease, and a clean and well-moving intestinal tract is the foundation of health.
I just want to say that you folks have an amazing product. I've taken whey protein products for years, and I've never noticed the results I have with your product. I've suffered with bouts of constipation most of my life. Within a few days of taking One World Whey, I noticed a dramatic change. Also, in the past few years, I've experienced symptoms associated with diabetes. I feel horrible when I've had too much sugar, and I've been getting the foot pain as well. But I've noticed in the past week or so, I'm not feeling bad anymore, and the foot pain is gone. I'm just finishing up a 5-pound tub I ordered and just got off the phone ordering more. I love your product. Thank you.
Call 888-988-3325. That's 888-988-3325. Or visit oneworldway.com. That's oneworld.com.
As the New World Order continues to tighten its grip on every facet of life in this country, we're all asking ourselves, how can we maintain our independence? The answer is, get prepared and get prepared now. My Patriot Supply has the deal to get you started. Call 1-800-274 274-3070 today to get a 72-hour emergency food supply for only $10, including free shipping. Especially in an emergency situation, you don't want to rely on the government for anything. Having an emergency food supply is an important first step to making sure you'll never surrender to FEMA's control. Call 1-800-274-3070 to get your emergency food supply for only $10, including free shipping. You won't be able to find this deal online, and there's a strict limit of 4 per caller, so don't wait. Call 1-800-274-3070 today.
Alex Jones here, back live. We've got 6 minutes in this segment, 5 minutes after that, and then our guest has got to leave us. We're going to look at endocrine disruptors on record and household items and a big way to boost your health with Dr. Edward Grip coming up, and other news in the next hour. A lot of key news breaking at Infowars.com that I have not gotten to. Stuff like elderly man facing 10 years over unloaded flintlock pistol. That's just an amazing story. Walking while Jew, what they're not telling you. And if people attacking Jews in Europe get political support, or now this sit-in Black Lives Matter, where black folks go in and kind of rough up and get in white people's faces, this is just racism being promoted, and it's more divide and conquer. We should all just come together for freedom. I know it's a liberal cause celeb to hate Jews, but it's going nowhere. And the globalists are promoting it. And I assure you, every Jew on the face of the earth was teleported to the moon, we would still have major problems. So it's a scapegoat, it's an excuse, and it's sick. That's all I have to say on the subject. We're going back to our guest, richdad.com, Robert Kiyosaki. Let's go ahead and go to Chris in Washington, then Vincent, Bubba, John, Eric, and others. Chris, your question for Robert.
Yeah, my question is, I lost a job of 12 years, turned the 401k into an IRA Roth at a credit union, and I'm wondering if that's really a safer place to put it. I also have recently put it into my wife's name, so she's a Japanese national. I could wire it to Japan. But I'm wondering if those accounts would be frozen, would even keep me from wiring funds internationally. And is the 401k Roth, because it's a credit union, make it more safe?
Again, I'm going to say all coins have 3 sides, heads, tails, and the edge. I don't have an IRA, I don't have a 401k, and I don't have a Roth, simply because my rich dad taught me how to manage my money without the control of the government. See, the 401k and the Roth IRA are government, vehicles, basically. And they're doing their best to get the poor and middle class to do something for their retirement. Now, that's good for most people. I wouldn't do it. I'm concerned about them because the market's at all-time tops. So like I've always said, what you do is up to you. What I do is what I can do. For example, if Mark Zuckerberg called me right now and says, hey, why don't you start Facebook? I can't even use my cell phone, much less, create a.
So you got to financially be involved in what you know. Yeah.
And what your experiences are and all this. Like, a farmer would do something different. A secretary would do something different. A doctor would do something different. But and I'm not against them, what the big banks have trained us to do is go to school, but they give us no financial education. Save money, which means give their money to the bank, pay your taxes, get out of debt, and invest for the long term in the stock market. I don't do that. And that's what Second Chance is about.
Because you can't put all your eggs in one basket, Chris. But I mean, obviously, what do you think of his idea of getting money out of the country?
Yeah, you better talk to an attorney because I'll just tell you this much: they're cracking down very, very hard.
That's right. I talked to a lot of famous people that left the country years ago, and they're
cracking down so hard right now. If you do anything even smells illegal, you're in trouble. So you've really got to have good...
Unless you're an illegal alien, then you're above the law. Thank you so much. Let's go to Vincent in North Carolina. You're on the air.
Thanks for having me. I guess probably what I just need to do is get the book. Mr. Kiyosaki, I had purchased one of your Rich Dad programs, which teaches how to get into real estate investing. And about that time, which was shortly before I think the last time you were on Alex's program, I was seriously looking into that. and then I realized that the housing market was really going down, that it may be difficult for somebody